This was only a few months ago from the time I'm writing this. I work an overnight job at a warehouse. So, I'm usually home sleeping during the day. And I'm awake between 6 o'clock p.m. to about 9 or 10 a.m., even on my days off. Because I like to keep my body on the same schedule. This night, I was at work until 4 o'clock a.m. When I got off, I headed straight home, getting there at just about 4:15. All the roads were empty and quiet. However, when I got up to my house, there was a car parked right next to my driveway. I slowed down as I passed it and turned in. Getting a better look at it. It was an old black sedan with heavily tinted windows. I couldn't see through any of them, and all its lights were off. I pulled into my garage and parked, taking one more look down the driveway before heading inside. The way this neighborhood was laid out, there was a decent amount of spacing between each home. So, usually it was pretty easy to park right by whatever house you're visiting or whatever. So, parking right by my house seemed really unnecessary, when there were so many open places to park along the road. Initially, I dismissed it as someone visiting my neighbors. Maybe they had a party or something. And all the spots on the road closer to their house were taken beforehand. I checked one more time out the windows that morning. About an hour later, and the car was gone. The rest of that day went by as usual. I slept until 6 o'clock, then got ready for another night at work. When I pulled out of the driveway to leave for work, the car wasn't there, so I really had no reason to think about it anymore. I went through my work night, which was a bit more tiring than usual. But I was looking forward to my night off tomorrow. The shift dragged on until I finally got out and drove home. Again, it was the middle of the night and no cars were out at all. But when I got home, that same old car was there, parked in the same spot as last night. I did what I did before, slowly passing it and trying to see in the windows. But it looked no different than before. This time, after parking in the garage, I walked down to the end of the driveway, just to get a closer look. As I was walking there, I thought I saw something move inside the car behind the tinted window. It was just a glimpse out of the corner of my eye, so I couldn't tell for sure. I guess it could have been just a reflection on the outside of the window too. I walked up maybe 10 feet from the car, as I wasn't comfortable approaching directly up to it, especially if someone was in there. Even then, I couldn't see anything else. Before leaving, I decided to snap a photo of their license plate, just in case this became a recurring problem. But I figured I'd never actually have to use it. Better safe than sorry though. I went back inside, just like last night. I checked again a while later and the car was gone. Really strange, but it wasn't exactly harming me in any way. So I didn't think there was much else to do about it. I made dinner and watched TV for a couple hours. Then got in bed and slept until 6 or 7 p.m. The sun was already set by the time I woke up. Having the night off, I did my usual long walk around the neighborhood. When I left the house, the car wasn't there. But when I got back from my hour-long walk, it suddenly was parked right there, in the same spot as the previous 2 nights. I mean, I just walked the entire neighborhood, and maybe saw 1 or 2 other cars parked on the street. So why was this one always right in front of my house? And only at night. I walked up to it, and this time got right up by the window, putting my hand above my eyes, and against the window to block out the reflection, so that I could see inside. The car was empty. No people and not really anything at all to give me hints as to why they were here. This was one of those off situations, where it was really odd, but also they weren't harming me in any way at all. So, it wasn't simple as to what to do about it. I went back inside the house. First thing I did was grab my phone, which I'd left charging on my nightstand while I was out walking. But when I picked it up, I saw an unusual notification. It was a motion detection alert from one of my security cameras. For reference, I had a camera on my front porch. But it only faced the door. So it never goes off. Unless someone was right outside the door. I also had 3 cameras inside my home, in all the main rooms. The notification didn't specify which camera detected motion. So I opened the app and checked. There was a 60-second clip saved by the app. I watched it and for pretty much the whole time. The house was completely silent and there wasn't any movement. I was just starting to think. This was a misinput by the system. But in the last 5 seconds of the video, something suddenly moved past the very bottom of the camera. It was really quick. They were only in the frame for a fraction of a second. And only part of their head and shoulders were caught. I felt my hands go numb while I held the phone. The room the footage was from was the bedroom I was currently standing in. Suddenly, the silence of the house was deafening. I could literally hear my heart beating. As I slowly turned around and started darting my eyes all across the room. They could be anywhere. Even watching me right now. All the thoughts rushing through my head only made me panic even more. Realizing I needed to leave, I hurried toward the doorway and out of the room. Instantly, I heard movement from the bedroom right behind me. And by the time I got to the stairs, footsteps were rushing down the hallway. They were maybe only 15 feet behind me. I got to the front door and sprinted right into the woods. In the intensity of the moment, I never even turned around to see who it was chasing me. I was more focused on getting out of there alive. Eventually, it was only my footsteps crunching on the leaves, covered by the darkness of the woods. I called 911. When they arrived, the car was gone. But thankfully I had a picture of their license plate from the day before. It only took 3 hours to find and arrest them. It was a guy in his mid-20s. And he looked completely deranged. Honestly, if I'd turned back and saw him chasing me through my house, I probably would have been so terrified that I would have tripped or something. The guy didn't seem to have any real reason for targeting me. But it was extremely evident that he was in fact targeting me. There were multiple pictures on his phone of my house. And even some looking through the windows. At night at me sitting in my living room. He also had notes on when I left. And got home from work every day for the last 2 weeks. Disturbingly, we still don't know how he got into my home. And all around the cameras. And if he was able to get in unnoticed. There's no way to know if that was the first time he'd broken in. With how long and intently he was stalking me. He could have somehow had knowledge of where all the cameras were. And it could have been that this was just the first time he'd made the mistake of slightly walking in view of one of the cameras in my bedroom. Regardless, I shouldn't have to worry about him for a long time, though.